Now, Channel 19 saving the day for Willoughby South. The helicopter brought in today and buzzed the field. Yes, actually trying to clear off all the water so you can see that game live tomorrow night here on Sports Time Ohio. It helps when the head coach's brother works at Channel 19 and has an in. But this is the 19 chopper. You can see it buzzing off the field. Of course, one of our directors is actually a pilot, and he says that has been done before, and it has been effective. We will find out tomorrow. You'll get to see the game live here on Sports Time Ohio. Brian Cavanaugh and myself will have the call of that one. Okay, let's head out west now to Toledo. A lot of great matchups here for week one of the playoffs. Will Kunkel is on the Rebel Wireless Hotline to bring you Midview at Toledo Central Catholic. Perrysburg is here against Avon, and Avon Lake is out there against Whitmer. And Will joins us on the hotline now. Hello, Will.
Hey, Mike, how's it going, man?
Good, good. Let's start with Toledo Central Catholic, a Division II Region 6 matchup as they go up against the Middies of Midview. And we talked about, first of all, just shocked at that final score against Whitmer last week. You and I talked about this game for weeks, but the fact that it was 42-0 last week, I'm sure a lot of people had to walk out, with the mouths dropped after that one.
Yeah, and their hearts broken. I was one of them. I was so excited for this game. It was like Christmas was, taken away the morning of. It was 42-0. It was a joke. But, I guess Whitmer is that good, and Central Catholic wasn't as great as we all thought. But Central Catholic now has a chance to bounce back in the playoffs when it really matters. So it's obviously a big game. I don't know, obviously, too much about Grafton Midview, but they're 9-1, and Central Catholic's 9-1. So something's got to give by the end of the night.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be a potentially high-scoring game. And I've covered Midview quite a bit. They got a great quarterback, a Division I college quarterback, and Cody Calloway, and two stud wide receivers, and they like to put the ball in the air. They'll throw it 40, 50 times. So I think, and based on that high-powered offense with Amir Edwards and company there at Toledo Central Catholic, I think it's all going to be on the defenses, Will. The team that has the ball last in this game could actually win it.
Well, that's funny. Amir Edwards left the game against Whitmer in the first quarter with a head injury, which is presumed to be a concussion, and is out tonight. He will not play. So that's 1,200 rushing yards and 22 touchdowns that'll be on the bench. So that's definitely going to hurt Central Catholic. We are going to be live with Central Catholic coach Greg Dempsey tonight at 6 to get an update to see if anything's changed with Amir Edwards. But as of now, he is not going to play tonight.
Wow, there you go. That's why you watch the show. Some breaking news there from Will Kunkel, the number 4 team in the state, as Amir Edwards, their stud running back, is out for tonight's contest against Midview. From there, let's stay in Division II Region 6, a game that I'll be heading out to after I get off the show here. Perrysburg comes into town to take on Avon. Avon going all the way into the state championship game last year, and I think a lot of people know that this is the dark horse. They got everybody back. They lost the first week to Avon Lake. They've been rolling since then. And Perrysburg, though, will definitely cause some problems tonight for the Eagles.
Well, it's their first time in the playoffs since 2007, so they're definitely geeked out and they're excited. But as we've talked about every single week, it's all up to Steve Slocum. He does it all. He has 1,261 rushing yards and 1,183 passing yards and 28 touchdowns. So that's over 1,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing is a lot. But then I'm reading up a little bit on Avon. They have a Michigan commit in Ross Douglas. So they're obviously not too shabby themselves out there, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that game.
Yeah, Ross Douglas has put up some major yards for the Eagles, and he's healthy and coming off a big 5-touchdown, 200-yard performance last week. I think it's going to be a really good football game. I think the Eagles at home are going to be tough to beat. From there, it's talk about being tough to beat at home. Avon Lake on the road, another one of the teams from our area up here. It's the first time that they've made the playoffs in Division I. They're a long-time Division II Region 6 power, but they've got their hands full, and we'll talk to their head coach coming up a little bit later on here in the show. But the Panthers' defense, I think, is going to cause some problems with the high-powered offense of Avon Lake.
Yeah, I don't want to be shunned from Avon Lake or the Cleveland area, but I think they have a rude awakening tonight. What Whitmer's about to do. I don't know how good Avon Lake's offense is, but we know at Central Catholic how good they are. They average 400 yards a game, and they were absolutely shut down by Whitmer's defense. And we mentioned it last week. Their defense is great, but their offense is just as good. They've outscored opponents 385-75. That's a lot of points and not a lot given up. And anytime you have that differential, you're obviously going to do well. And Nick Hawley's another player like Steve Slocum who does it all. He's got over 1,000 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, almost 1,500 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns. So these kids, when they play a position, they really play it well.
Yeah, I don't think Avon Lake has seen a multi-dimensional quarterback like a Nick Holley, and they certainly have not played a defense like Whitmer. And keep in mind, Whitmer has played 14 weeks the past 2 seasons. So this is a team that has played deep into the playoffs, and you got still, even with the graduations last year, you still have some players on that roster that played extra weeks last year.
Yeah, they have a lot of experience, and that's honestly what I noticed last week against Central Catholic. Because Central Catholic had, I believe, 4 or 5 turnovers in the first half, and Whitmer just played so sound, so solid. You knew that it looked like they had been there before. They knew what they were getting themselves into. They knew what the game was about. 8,000 people at the game did not make them nervous at all. They got more excited for it. And you could just tell they've been there, they've done it, and it was just ho-hum, another huge game for them. And tonight's no different.
Well, Will, good stuff as always, and we'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
All right, Mike. See you, man. Have fun tonight.
Yeah, you too. Will Kunkel, the sports director from WNWO in Toledo, getting you ready for the West Side football, and actually some cross-town matchups in between Cleveland and Toledo this week. From there, we head south to the Columbus area. Jared Smalley from WCMH, the sports director of NBC4, old Friday Night Football himself. Marion Franklin, Licking Heights going at it. New Albany and Beechcroft, Westerville South, and Darby. And J-Rod joins us now on the Revel Wireless Hotline. Hello, Mr. Friday Night Football. How are you?
Mike, I'm glad to take a quick break from political advertising to talk to you.
And I approve your message, so let's get right to it. Division II, Region 7, it's a 3-6 matchup. The unbeaten Hornets, 6th in this region, going up against, well, just a deep and playoff-tested team in the Red Devils of Marion Franklin.
Yeah, it's sort of an unfortunate break for Licking Heights. They had such a strong season. I've had a chance to see them a couple times in person. They're a deserving 10-0 football team. They have a tremendous offensive line, or very good running back, a kid named Ron Carruthers-Kimball, who has flourished for them this season. Really stood out, great speed, acceleration, and they're a legitimate 10-0 football team, Mid-State League Cardinal Division champions. It's just how the draw fell. And Marion Franklin is a mysterious team. To your point, they have the talent to play with pretty much anybody in Division II, I believe. They've got speed, athleticism, tremendous defense. The issue for Marion Franklin all year has been their quarterback, Corey Benson, who before the season had accumulated something like 77 touchdowns in his career. He hurt his throwing shoulder this year, and that offense was really shrunk when he wasn't able to effectively throw the ball. He is throwing the ball a little bit better now, and they're going to look a little bit more like themselves. They also, you talk about 2 tremendous defenses. Licking Heights can play great defense. So I love this matchup, my favorite of the first week.
All right, and on the other side of that D2 Region 7 matchup is a 4-5 matchup. You want to talk about defense. The Eagles of New Albany have been getting it done defensively. Started the season 0-2, got hot. They've won 8 straight. Beechcroft has won 7 straight, scoring about 43 points a game. Their defense giving up about a touchdown a game. How tight is this one going to be, J-Rod?
Oh, I think it will be very tight. I think this is a tremendous athletic game. You have 2 of the best individual athletes, in my opinion, in the state, going head-to-head. Darren Lee, of course, is the lone Central Ohio kid that's committed to Ohio State. He quarterbacks New Albany. He also is a tremendous defensive back, so probably what he's going to focus on at Ohio State. And then on the other side, Maurice Hale, a kid that not a lot of people know about, also the same situation, plays defensive back, and he's the quarterback. He is an outstanding athlete, very quick. He's also thick. He can run through tackles. Great matchup between those 2. I suspect the guy that handles the pressure and the conditions better will lead his team to victory.
All right, finally, let's move up. Division I, Region 3, which has just been brutal this year, and we've seen this regional standings throughout the season. We'll talk about a 1-8 matchup, a couple of teams that missed the playoffs last year, and our first rematch that we're talking about in the Columbus area from a Week 7 matchup when Westerville South lost to Darby.
Well, we have three rematches in the Region 3 playoffs, and they are all 3, I suspect, going to be much tighter than they were the first time. And I think this is a great example. You look at it on paper, 1 versus 8. Darby's 10-0, rolling along, tremendous season for them. But Westerville South as an 8 seed is loaded with individual talent. And if it comes together on the right day, they're going to be hard for anybody to beat. And that's where I look at that game and I say, you never quite know. It should be dry tomorrow. It's a grass field at Darby. So, you look at those kind of factors and the speed of South. And Darby handled them, though, pretty good in the first meeting. Darby did a very nice job. and they were able to establish control along the line of scrimmage. And I think that's where it's going to be won again tomorrow night.
All right, real quick before I let you go, talk about another rematch there in Region 3, North Central. Who wins it? 37-0 the first time around. North.
Well, Pick North got upset last week in what I would call the biggest upset in Central Ohio all year. I could not believe it when that score came in. I'd imagine North will be just as angry as they were earlier this season when they played Central the first time, and you saw the result there. I think North has a tremendous football team. Last week, to me, feels like a little bit of an aberration, so I would still go with the Panthers in that one.
All right, that's why we asked the man, Mr. Friday Night Football himself. J-Rod, thank you so much. Talk to you again next week.
All right, bud. See you soon.
All right, Jared Smalley, the sports director from WCMH and NBC4. Well, another team that is celebrating the playoffs, coming off a huge win over Lake Catholic last week to vault themselves into the playoffs. The Lions of NDCL. Our Will Ewick paid a visit to NDCL.
Thanks, Mike. Coach Byron Morgan has built winning programs everywhere he's been. Mayfield, Solon, and now Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. The Lions enter the playoffs as a seeded team for the first time in school history. And the players all agree Coach Morgan is the reason why.
He's brought a whole different edge to this team, and because we know that he's coached some of the best teams in Ohio. So we know that we can trust him to take us far into the playoffs.
He's intense, but he's serious some days. He's funny, but he knows what he's talking about, and that's why we all respect him.
After starting the season 0-2, the Lions went on to win their last 8, including a regular season finale against arch-rival Lake Catholic, a team that NDCL has only beaten 6 times in their last 23 tries.
Yeah, that was a huge game for us. There's no doubt about it. It's always a big game, but with what was laying on the line this time was really special.
It was really something special in front of our home fans who've been waiting a while for us to get in the playoffs and host a home game.
That was one of the biggest games that we've ever played, and we just had to keep thinking, this is the game, this is the only team that can beat us. So once we beat them now, this is the biggest game of our careers, and the biggest game of our life is this week. So.
With a victory over the Cougars, the Lions head to the postseason for the first time since 2008. Although they'll have the hometown crowd at Lions Stadium, they have a tough task ahead, which begins with a team that made it to last year's regional finals, St. Vincent St. Mary.
They got a lot of athletic players, a good linebacker, good receiver, good running back. So if we just do our thing, play our own game, then I think we'll be all right.
Well, definitely we have to play great defense again. They've got some very, very skilled kids. They got skilled kids all over the place. We're going to do what we have to do to win a football game, whether it's run the football or throw the football. But I think there's some things that we can do. I'm sure they know that there's things that they can do. I don't think either team's going to change a whole lot. Once you get this far, you're going to go with what got you there.
Coach Morgan and the players all say some of their success is due to their new turf field. Last season, their field had become such a mess, they had to practice and even play at opposing fields. They're hoping that new turf field pays off one more time when they play the Fighting Irish. Mike, back to you.
And don't sleep on Coach Byron Morgan. He has been around a long time and a lot of playoffs games. Congratulations to the Lions and best of luck to NDCL in the playoffs. Much more to come here on the fastest 90 minutes in high school football as we continue to move along in this week's edition of the Ohio High School Kickoff Show. Head coach Dave DeLugas from Avon Lake joins us live to talk about the Shoremen heading west to Toledo to take on Whitmer. That's coming up next.